Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm wonderful. Well, we'll just jump into it. Welcome to this Black Girl podcast. I am your host, Lola.
And I am also your host, Miss HILDIVA. And we're so glad that you guys have all joined us. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome. Join the family.
Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, all of the socials.
Yes, and if you're a regular, welcome back. We missed you. And we can jump right into it.
Okay, well, my question to you today is, how do you feel about marriage and getting married? You gonna get married? You gonna walk down that aisle? You gonna talk bouquet? How do you?
Very good. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, so marriage, to be honest, I'm undecided about marriage. Not to say that I don't want to get married. I haven't been married in my life yet. When I was younger, I did imagine, the cliche, or not necessarily cliche, but the conventional, you marry in your, I don't know, mid to late 20s, and then, have the kids and, live happily ever after. So I did definitely envision that when I was younger, and just assumed that everything just would fall into place and that things would just be perfect and you live happily ever after. Just like all the fables you hear. But after growing up and actually having kids, I didn't want to get married, especially after I had my first son. I just realized that having a child within itself is such a feat to really get a handle of, that I didn't want to be married on top of that. I wanted to tackle, just having a child, with my partner at the time. And so we didn't plan to get married right away. We just wanted to raise our family and do what we had to do. And then we ended up having 2 more kids, and which would be with my other 2 boys. And so we had a great time raising them. It was a lot of work, a lot of fun. But I didn't get married. I didn't want to. It wasn't really something that I felt I had to do. I know that a lot of religious people in my position would have rushed to get married, or felt like, it's an obligation. But I'm so happy that, for me, I'm so happy that I didn't, because I did have the foresight to just choose for myself and say that, I'm not ready for this right now. And because I would have had a divorce under my belt for sure. I probably would have. So that's one thing that I haven't done yet. But for the future, I'm not against it. I'm definitely not against it. If in the future I meet someone that I feel so connected to, and I want to get married, and I feel like, it's the right step for me, why not? It's just not something that I see right now, just definitely not a priority for me right now.
And that's fair. That's totally fair. I personally, I've been married. I kind of felt the same way growing up, that once you got to a certain point in life, once you got to a certain age, especially when, children are starting to be involved, that, the next step or the right step should be, getting married to your partner. And I definitely felt the pressures from that in terms of familial and societal expectations. Do I regret being or getting married? I want to say no, just because I don't know, I feel like, and maybe just because I didn't take it in as deeply as maybe you did, because you had kids earlier than I did. So you kind of got an earlier peek behind the drapes, so to say. I didn't realize how important it was, like how important your partner was, and how important it is for like a person that you're not only cohabitating with, but like you're sharing legal responsibilities with, you're sharing children with, like how important it is to like have like a really good partner that has, I want to say at least like similar or matching values, just because like a person is a certain way or not a certain way, like when you marry them, they're not going to change, and a lot of people think that like once you get married, you kind of grow up, you assume certain responsibilities and you make certain changes, and that's somewhat true, but like the core values, they don't change. And I kind of had to learn that, I guess the harder way. Like I was married for about I don't even want to say 5 years. I was with my ex-husband for 5 years, but we were married for about, I want to say like maybe 4 and change, just under 4, maybe 4. So, and I'm going to be going through the fabulous process of divorce just now. Right now we're legally separated, and to be honest, we get along way better legally separated now in the past like year or so that it's been going on than we have in the past like probably 2.5 years, to be very honest.
It's so funny how that works too, because I find that it's the same thing for me. Like with my ex, it's sometimes with people, like just not breaking up. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you with someone,
Absolutely. I feel like it takes off a whole air of pressure. Like you have this pressure to like hold this family together and manage certain things and deal with responsibilities and have this person's back, and kind of being able to step away from it all and just be like, you're your own person, I'm my own person. Oh, it's so nice.
It is. And it definitely, like, it allows you just not to be so stifled, I feel like sometimes the relationship and in motherhood, like you lose yourself, especially us women. Like we're the sacrificial lambs in relationships, and we're the ones that everyone looks to keep the family unit together, keep the household together, hold everyone emotionally up, so it's nice sometimes to just not have all that responsibility and to be able to worry about just yourself and your kids, and not have a whole other human being to kind of mother, right? And I feel like it also goes to the roles, like women's roles, men's roles in the home, in society. It all kind of goes hand in hand, because I think some men, when they get in relationships, I believe that there are men walking around right now that believe that if they have a woman, she's cooking for them, she's
right, she's taking care of home,
right, or not even home, but them, you know what I mean? Like some men believe that the purpose of a woman is to do the traditional roles, and I feel like some guys are kind of stuck in that mentality, don't realize that, like, no, if a woman cooks you dinner, it doesn't matter if she's your wife, your girlfriend, your friend, your neighbor. If a woman cooks you dinner, you say thank you, because she doesn't have to. It doesn't matter what she is. You know what I mean? Even your mom.
Agreed.
Start there.
Agreed. And it's funny, so because this is where I feel like a little old school, okay? And I don't know if it's because of like how I was raised, but like, my mom's always taught me, like, to always be hospitable. Like if you come over to our house, you're being fed. If you're going somewhere, you go with something in hand. You don't show up empty-handed, and things like that. And so I've kind of grown up with that expectation of myself as a woman. And I've always kind of had the notion in my head that, like, if I'm with a partner, especially if we're sharing a home, that, like, I'm going to do my best to take care of, you know, the home. However, if that means I'm taking on more duties and responsibilities within the house, I expect you to take more duties and responsibilities outside of this house. You know, because it's like, you can't expect me to clean, take care of kids or kid. Take care of the kid, clean, cook, you know, throw down in the bedroom, work, and like do all like, you know, all of that, everything all in one, and then you're just doing what? Like, just showing up, eating,
right,
and then go to working? Like, no, like, that doesn't work. If, like, you need to take something off of my plate if you want me to take on all of those additional roles, or you put Molly Maid on speed dial, you put Uber Eats on speed dial, you know, certain things, like, you know, take to create a balance, because a lot of men forget, like, especially with these kind of household or societal traditions of, like, women's expectations or places in the home. Like, women were seen as homemakers because they weren't doing other things. They weren't going manning a job and all of that stuff. They were taking care of the kids and taking care of the home, because that itself is a chore.
Right.
And, you know, and the men were going to work and being a breadwinner and things like that. But it's like, if like, you know, obviously there's extenuating circumstances. If, for example, you know, being a single mom, you're going to have to work because you have no choice. Like, you know, you can't just sit back on welfare and expect life to kind of advance you, because that's not how it works in our country. But, like, you know, you have to kind of take on all of those responsibilities. Do I think it's fair? No. But, like, I understand that the responsibility that comes as a party of one. If you're a party of two, though, there should be way more equality, or one person taking on one major role and the other person taking on the other.
Yeah, it's more, I feel like when you're in a relationship, like, for me as a woman, I don't mind taking care of my man. I like the idea of, you know, treating my man, and you know, I like to cook, I like to clean, and whatever, cooking more for sure. But at the end of the day, it's more like, I would like men to have more appreciation. And I feel like the ones that expect women to do that and just assume that that's a woman's role, or maybe, you know, in the household they didn't have many expectations put on them, so they just assume, okay, they'll find a woman to do that. That's where I have a problem, because they just need to show appreciation to their woman. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a woman doing all this for you, don't expect, appreciate, you know, just appreciate that you have that. If you have a woman cooking and cleaning, thank the Lord, because the day she's gone, you're going to wonder who the heck is doing that. And then you'll look in the mirror and realize, wait, you know, but wait, the only person that lives here is me, you know? So that's my thing. True. Like, I'm not even saying, you know, everything has to be done by the woman, or has to be, you know, men have to do half of the work or whatever. No. It's just whoever's doing what, the other person should be appreciative. It's just more recognizing, you know, that yes, you should be helping out, but you know, different households, different schedules, different, you know, arrangements. So it makes sense. Just that appreciation.
Well, okay, I have mixed feelings, because I agree, but I agree. Okay, I agree with stipulations, because my whole vibe is like, yeah, okay, let's say both people are working. Maybe one person's working a few more hours than the other, so the other person's picking up the slack at home. Like, I want you then to pick up the slack that's in my pockets. I understand being appreciative, like, thanks babe for doing this, thanks babe for doing that, like, that's fine, but thanks babe doesn't pay the rent. Like, I'm sorry.
Of course.
Maybe I'm just so, like, I'm practical, but, like, you can only thanks babe me so much.
Well,
you know,
I'm assuming if you're partners, there better be some pocket sharing, because
then that's not partners, that's roommates. If there's no pocket sharing going on, like that's, you know, that's a given, you know, if you're in a relationship. I feel like that should be a given. But that also kind of goes to spoken about previously in the podcast of like, what financial expectations do you have for a partner? Like, not necessarily on a date, but in this situation, in a relationship, you know?
That is true. I mean, I feel like what life has taught me is like, aside from, people always say communication is key, but like, communication is really, really important. And like, not even what you do choose to share, but also what you don't share with your partner should also fall as a red flag. Like, if you notice that like your partner isn't really interested in talking to you about budgeting or saving money, like that should be a red flag to you about like, okay, well, how are you going to manage future savings, especially if you have certain goals to like own a house, buy a car, and do certain things, you know?
Exactly. I was just going to say the same thing. I was just going to say that. And I will definitely say, like, in my younger years, you know, that was not a huge, you know, stepping stone on the radar for me, which was where I was young, I was green behind the ears, starting out in relationships.
Yeah.
Like, not asking those tough questions to anyone that was in.
Same.
You know, do you have a savings plan? Do you have a retirement plan? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's the look of your future? Do you save money regularly? You know, what are your finances like? And it's such a game changer now, like in my 30s. I'm like, no. Like, do you have a job? Do you save? You know, it's funny because I recently was talking to a guy about that, which was really funny. Like, one of our first meetups and talking, and it's like, what's your resume look like? What's on it? Where do you work now? Do you have this? Do you have your RRSP? Do you have a TFSA? Okay. Do you have, you know, XYZ?
Yeah.
Because it's,
and like a lot of, I find that a lot of men tend to, kind of dismiss women who kind of look at that kind of stuff as like being too cutthroat or being a gold digger or something like that. Like, oh, you're concerned about what a man has. And it's like, they don't realize, I'm concerned about what a man has because I have my own dreams and ambitions, and they need to correlate.
And it's not even that. It's like, I'm concerned about what you don't have, bruh, because you ain't coming to me with that, with no don't haves. Okay. You know what I mean? It's not what you have. If you have stuff, good for you. You're good to go. But it's the people that don't have. That's where I'm like, that's a red flag. I gotta go, you know, because at the end of the day, if I come to you with nothing, you have control over me, you know. But if I come with something, then I have control over my life. I want a man who has control over his life, who is not coming to me with nothing. Come on, you know. I feel like I've said this before. But my biggest revelation about relationships and getting ahead and actually having a relationship that would last is that relationship should not be 50-50. It should not be me bringing 50, you bring 50. I believe a relationship should be 200%. I bring myself 100%, you know, emotionally, physically, mentally, financially stable. And you bring yourself 100% emotionally, financially, you know, physically, everything stable, everything, you know, obviously within reason. If you're someone who's injured can obviously date, but you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Where else in your life, like you're not coming with loads of, you know, uncontrollable debt that you just, you know, whatever. Like, try and fix yourself up before you find a partner, so that when you guys do come together, you're a force to be reckoned with. Not 50-50 and then, you know, we're both going 50-50 on a house. I want to be able to get my own house and you secure your own house. So when we get together, we just need to decide which one we're going to live in and which one we're going to use as an investment property. And we're good to go. We're already building wealth. We're already starting our story with a leg up, you know?
But and that's fair, but I feel like that also falls under the category of communication is key, because like if that person doesn't share your core values, like then how do you expect to have those types of ambition? Like, you know, like what if you meet a guy who has like, you know, no particular debt, he's okay, he's comfortable, you know, he has his job, makes decent money, has a savings, all of that stuff. And when you're like, okay, so let's start an investment property, and he's like, no. Like, what if he's like adamantly like, no, I have no interest in doing that. I have no interest in building wealth in this capacity. This is not something I want to do. If you sell your house, that's on you, and you want to move in here, it's cool, but like, I want no involvement in that.
Oh, then that's a next. That's why I have my own house. Like, next, you know, that's an easy peasy. You know, I have my own home. I'm good. Mortgage is paid. Yeah. Or getting paid at least, but you know, that would be an easy next. Like, that's the power of having your independence. People can tell you no, and you can say next. Okay, perfect. No for you, next. That's why it's so important for us women to just get ourselves on our own 2 feet, get stable, get financially stable and set for our future, so that, you know, gone are the days, thankfully, where we're just at home waiting on a man, you know. You know, I would love that. Right. It's not a bad thing to be at home waiting on a man. You know, there's plenty of stay-at-home moms, you know, doing respectable work and, you know, doing their own thing, taking care of their family. But it's not an obligation anymore. You know, it's not an expectation anymore. So thankfully, you know, we've got choices, and we're part of the narrative now. We're not just victims of some man's story, right? As of before. So that's why it's just so important, I feel like, for it to be 200%, everyone bringing something, so that no one, you know, if anyone doesn't like something that goes on, no one's kind of left behind to suffer. It's both people that can decide. 2 healthy people can decide, okay, well, this is not working for me. Okay, it's not working for you. Next. Like, we both are leaving with something, you know, instead of a broken home, leaving with half a house that we have to sell or something, you know.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I'm gonna put you in a scenario. Okay, let's say you met the love of your life. Okay, your LOL, the love of your life. Mm-hmm. He puts like a fat rock on your finger. Okay, your perfect, I don't know, perfect conflict-free gemstone. I'm not gonna say diamond because, you know, whatever. You know, you're the perfect engagement ring. Let's put it that way. Okay, it's the perfect engagement ring. If the money was available to you, what would you set a budget as? And how would you feel if, instead of having to deal with a groomzilla, like a man who wants his wedding to you done a particular way?
Ooh, okay. So you're saying, if he is a groomzilla, what would I do?
Yeah. Okay. And if you could have like I guess a quote unquote dream wedding, like what would that budget be?
Oh, okay. So very interesting. To be honest, I'm not so girly like that to even have. I have no plans. My only plan, to be honest, the only thoughts I've given to planning a wedding is that I just don't want a white wedding. And when I say that, I mean, I don't want the cliche, you know, in a hall with everyone, you know, I'm wearing a white dress and everyone's in their suits and ties. Recently, one of my family members had a wedding, and she had it back in St. Lucia. And it was so beautiful, because I always wanted a wedding that was in some way, you know, reminiscent of my African roots or my Caribbean roots. And this particular family member she had a white dress herself, but her bridesmaid were all dressed in traditional St. Lucian clothing. So beautiful. It was so absolutely beautiful. First time I saw wedding photos that I was just blown away. And like even the hair of the women were like beautiful. Some of them had natural hair, like in buns, I think, and some had like single braids, and it was just so culturally relevant and beautiful. And I said, I am gonna bite her wedding so hard when I get married. So that's what I would do. It would be like beautiful. I can't even describe it because the St. Lucian like traditional garments they're really nice. Like, oh, they're just beautiful. Like almost, I don't know, somewhat checkered. Not, I hate saying checkered because that sounds terrible, but it's not. But it's got like this beautiful pattern on it, and it's like tufted dresses, like they're cute. But anyway, I would do that. The budget, to be honest, not a big deal. I would not have a crazy big wedding. I'd probably have maybe like 20 guests. I don't know, just my sister.
Really? Am I on this list? You got a big family. Do I make the list? Okay.
My whole family ain't even on the list, so don't worry. Literally, honestly, me and all my sisters all had a pact. Somewhere they all said that we're all having each other as bridesmaids. So that's the only good thing about having a big family, because I have 3 sisters. Boom, 3 bridesmaids instant, you, and then okay, you're gonna be all up in there, maid of honor. Okay. And yes, I'm gonna have, and then like just like 20 guests. I'm not gonna have it's not gonna be no huge big hullabaloo, depending on who the man is. I mean, if he has a big family and he wants it to be a big hullabaloo, he could have that. I'm honestly, it's funny because when you first mentioned Groomzilla too, I'm thinking, what the hell, Groomzilla? What is this? But to be honest, I would let my man shine at our wedding, just as long as I get to have my traditional St. Lucian bridesmaids looking beautiful. Yeah. And he can Groomzilla out all he wants, but he might not.
So that's your compromise. As long as you get your little bits, he can run the show.
Yeah. I'm so like, I don't really, I'm chill about that, to be honest. It would be fine, just as long as, it's not too crazy. I wouldn't want it to be too big of a wedding, but I'd be fine. I'd be fine with it just being low key, and some good people, good food. That's the only thing I can't compromise on. The food has to be good, and the drinks, the bars, open bar, it's got to be nice. So
yes, girl. Okay. If we're gonna get into it, it's funny because like I'm definitely more of the girly girl. Okay. Mm-hmm. And as you know, like I've already been married before, but like, girl, if I could do that shit over, and have a second marriage or whatever, like I wouldn't have a lot of people. My mom would definitely not be in charge of the invite list, because the first time around I didn't care, so she invited like a whole heap of people. Okay. So I would definitely take reins on the invite list, cut that shit small, probably don't go over like 60 people max, including like bridesmaids and all of that shit. I'd probably want to do something kind of like outdoorsy, like you won't find my ass in a church. I don't necessarily even want to be in no banquet hall unless like has to be weather permitted, but like I'd rather this whole shit be outside, bougie as fuck, like good food. And definitely have like a nice bar, and like I'd have open, I want to say I'd probably have open bar, but like what I actually want, girl, like I want like spliffs at my wedding. Like I want like a bud tender. So where there's like open bar, there's like open bud as well. Not too much for people to get like high out of their face, but like, there's like a special code you give to the bartender, and they just slide you a little spliff, and you just
girl, I'm gonna be ripped at that wedding, girl.
Well, I want people to have a good time. Some people don't drink. Like even myself, like I don't drink a lot, so I want people to have a good time, but then I also don't want people to be judged by like boomers and like old judgy folk, church folk. So it's like you slip the bartender a secret code, he slips you something back, and you handle your business.
Gummy bar.
Yeah. Either edibles or something,
Girl, I will not stop laughing. I won't be able to do my speech. Oh my God.
I'll release it after the speeches, baby.
Put me on the do not serve list, please, of the Bud Bar.
That would be fun.
Mercy.
But yeah, I would want to do something bougie. I'd want to do something fun. In terms of like a budget, I don't know. I couldn't imagine spending full heaps of money. I can't speak for the groom, but I don't know. I don't know if I could put a price right now, but I would definitely want to. I'm willing to invest for a good time. Put it that way.
And your ring?
Oh, my ring, girl. I don't know. I'm not fussy about the ring, eh? As long as it sparkles, it doesn't even have to be diamonds. It can be fucking those lab-grown diamonds. It could be like emerald, sapphire. Like there's other beautiful stones that aren't, necessarily diamonds. So I'm not fussy about that at all.
I agree with that. It's funny because I saw Mariah Carey's ring. Remember her $10 million, 14 carat, and hers was emerald cut, and I thought it was gorgeous.
I'm very basic in the sense I like, as long as it's a round stone, like I like a cute little princess cut, like a round little cushion with the little like halo of diamonds around it. Like the stone in the middle can be whatever the fuck you want, as long as it's that cute little halo cut. I'm good.
I do love princess cut. That's like it's a square. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous. I did do some ring shopping in my life. And I love princess cut. I absolutely love it. I literally already have a ring picked out. Like I just need a man. Honestly, at this point, Tiffany's sitting waiting for me right now.
You're so funny. I like a cute princess cut, but I also I love a round cut just because of like that halo trim. I love having like the one stone and then like the whole bunch of little stones around it. So cute. So cute.
I'm going to buy myself that engagement ring.
Why not?
I'm doing it. I'm buying it for my damn self. I'm married. Like, who are you married to? Me, baby.
My motherfucking self. Don't forget it.
Myself, and I. Okay? I love it. I love it. Because I am. And I can't finish that because we don't have the copyright.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, with that said, we're going to wrap up today's episode, and let's leave you with a question though. If you choose to get married, how many bridesmaids would you want in your bridal party? Something simple.
Yeah. So let's make it a couple part question. Like I want to know location, amount of people, and is it open bar or what? Like what I want to know, because I want to know. All right,
there you go. So it's a 4-parter. It's a 4-parter.
Yeah.
How many people? Is it open bar? How many bridesmaids? And what was the last one?
Location.
And location, because we are wedding crashing. If you hadn't known, this is exactly. We're gonna take notes. I will show up.
Exactly. We're gonna bring the bud bar. All right. Well. So as always, have a good night.
Of course, you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.